Good morning, everybody. All right, it's a Friday, so thank you for making it to the end of the week. That's number one. It is August 7th, and we're just happy that it's Friday. So, first off, some housekeeping items. If you guys have any recommendations for HD video cameras, because the way that you're seeing me right now, it's probably 720p. The way that I can upload. I'm using the camera from my MacBook Pro. So if you guys have any recommendations about whether I should be using a phone instead or if I should be doing something different, I just, maybe I have to buy a tripod to set up the phone because I do like this kind of conversational style, or at least I want it to feel like a conversation. I mean, if I say something dumb, I wish that you guys would be screaming on the other end about it. I mean, that's the whole point, and then commenting about it, and then we can talk about it. Or find me on Twitter and tell me I'm dumb. So I have some absolute wild takes. Like yesterday, I said that I bet horse meat tastes amazing. So just life. That's number one. So we'll just get into it. But as always, beforehand, you're watching the Hi5 series from the DH podcast, which means that we're going to break down the top 5 things that you need to know or something that's crazy out in left field, and then we're going to actually tell you why it's important instead of just giving you headlines. So, number 1, 66 players in the NFL opt out. We've literally talked about this all week. We talked about it on Monday when the CBA wasn't signed. We talked about it on Wednesday when the CBA was signed, and we knew that Thursday at 4 was going to be your opt-out date. And now we're talking about it today on Friday. We had 66 players in total opt out of the NFL season. So depending upon their reasoning, they're either going to get $100,000 flat and say, all right, see you later. Or if they have a more serious health risk, perhaps they're a cancer survivor, then they were going to get $350,000 and also be sent on their way. So those opt-outs are non-refundable. I mean, you cannot come back from that. Even if somebody says, well, I kind of want to next week. Nope. See ya. Which is surprising to me personally. It would make perfect sense if the NFL is doing a bubble. But Goodell's dumbass is not doing a bubble. And he better be learning from Manfred because Manfred is getting raked over the coals. And Manfred, to me, is number 3, tied for number 4 of the worst commissioners. They've all had plenty of blunders, plenty. But Goodell's down there with him, most certainly. Bettman doesn't help himself either. So the 2 largest teams to have players opt out, the Patriots had 8 opt out. This now clears up their cap room. The Browns had 5. So that's a couple things to note too. Is that when those players opt out, that technically clears their cap room. So they get a freebie. It's essentially like when there's a penalty called and the quarterback could just bomb one downfield because it's a free play. So this is a free year to get some of those, 10, 15 million. You can still spend it on somebody. So you can still go get an unsigned free agent. You can still make a trade. This is available for NFL teams still. So watch for some movements before the season starts. As we're starting to get into training camp, we're going to start to get into mini camps, that this is something that you want to look at. Number 2, Ben Simmons, while he finally learned how to begin shooting threes when there are no fans because he cannot take the ridicule whatsoever, he is now out indefinitely. He had a sublimation. I'm literally having to read this because as everybody knows, all faithful watchers, I got my whiteboard and got my sublimation of a left knee. So once I hit the Twitter machine, I immediately had every Twitter doctor telling me what that meant. And so this is essentially a shift in the left kneecap, or what it politely means is a partial dislocation. Thanks, Dr. Twitter. You didn't help me out with COVID at all, but you helped me out with Ben Simmons. So he is out indefinitely, but according to Shams, according to Woj, that it does not sound bad at all. So, of course, out indefinitely sounds scary, but he's literally taking it day to day. So it could be 3 days, could be 4 days. It all completely depends upon how Ben's feeling and how quickly he wants to take this back because the Sixers are a playoff team. So he wants to make sure that he's going to be completely healthy gearing up for the playoffs. We're going to keep it in Philadelphia here for number 3, Aaron Boone. I am a Red Sox fan, admittedly, so I am an Aaron Boone hater to a T. He went to the referees. I said referees. This is when you need to comment and tell me I'm an idiot. He went to the umpires yesterday. The Yankees were playing the Phillies, so that's your Philadelphia connection. And he complained about noises that were happening outside the stadium. Now, that's because the Philly Fanatics fan section had congregated in their center field inlet to where they're a little bit closer to the field, and they were just blasting off air horns whenever the Yankees were pitching. That's it. And here's what I don't get. Aaron Boone, you had noises every last single year of your career. This isn't golf. This isn't that Jackass video where Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O and Pistorius were hiding in bushes and dropping air horns at golfers. This is baseball. There are always going to be noises. It's going to get noisier. Like next season when people are back, it's going to be a terrible acclamation for you. If you're annoyed by that, then you're going to have a whole hell of a lot of complaints. And he literally just said, I wanted to bring it to their attention. I didn't think they could do anything. Well, because it's outside the stadium, you're right. They can't. So then why the hell did you say anything? And now you just make it look like you're complaining about anything and everything, which you are. Number 4, while Aaron Boone complains a lot, he is not the biggest complainer. That biggest complainer award goes to Bryson DeChambeau. I mean, within 1 week, here's what happens. Within 1 week, we get him complaining to rules officials about his ball being near a lot of ants. That's number 1. Every time he has a bad hole, the cameras follow him, and he instructs his caddy to then go and walk in front of the camera, knock it over, do whatever you have to do. Just don't show me, because he thinks that players shouldn't be shown in vulnerable moments. Well, then don't be a part of professional sports, because this is 2020. There's cameras in everybody's faces. I'm not a professional sport, but I walk down the street and cameras are looking at me all day. And you know what I do? I deal with it. So, Bryson, shut the hell up and deal with it, because that is your job. Your job is to be a professional, and part of a professional is the good and the bad, and most certainly the ugly. And now that your dad bod's here, which brings me to my third part of this, he broke his driver yesterday. Because his new dad bod has added 20 yards to his swing, he leaned on his driver, which is a lot of pros do because they have hundreds of clubs at their disposal. But for any of my average players like myself, never recommended. You can bend the shaft. You can knock something loose in the head. You don't want to do that. But because Bryson's fat, that he used his driver to bend down, and it broke. Simple as that. Luckily that he got a rules official to let him use another cleared shaft, so he just twisted it off, put the new one back on, and he was on his way. But again, this is Bryson knowing the rules officials by names. So just another day, another bitching, complaining from Bryson. Number 5. Actually, you know what? I want to do this before I get to number 5, because those have been watching beforehand. You all know what number 5 is on a Friday. But one thing I want to get to first is something that I'm going to start here, and I want your all's opinion on it. It's called King of the Castle. Well, King of the Castle. And it's talking about who won this week, who succeeded at winning, or was it like great PR? I mean, like Melo was in the running for this week. Like Melo's 1B in this one for me. Number 1A that you guys might know, Pat McAfee. Pat McAfee crushed this week. He didn't have any shows, so usually Pat McAfee does a 2-hour and sometimes even longer, if you're watching on YouTube, daily show, Monday through Friday. It's a sports radio show that he has in Indy in his studio with all his boys. He didn't have that because it was honeymoon week. Pat got married last weekend. It's honeymoon week, so He didn't even have his radio show, but he still won this week. It's a testament. So what happened was he was on his honeymoon in Hawaii, and that just happened to be where WWE NXT is being held at. And he had been feuding with Adam Cole. It's okay that Adam Cole is like this tiny man, but Adam Cole doesn't like being reminded that he needs to wear a booster seat in cars. So Pat politely reminded him of this, just being the gentleman that he is. And he took time out of his honeymoon to go and be an announcer for NXT. Adam Cole was there. They made up. They made buddy. And then, of course, Adam Cole loses it when he hears whispers of small, short, tiny. He hears them in the air. And then like a rabid dog, he just goes after whoever it is. He just sniffs them out. And they happen to be Pat. And they clearly have had their past multiple times. And they go at it. And, looks like Pat's leaving the arena. Looks like he got kicked out. He comes back for another one. He actually boots Cole right in the dome piece. You know what? I have to respect it because Adam works very hard, and he needs to get his rest. Pat kicking him right in the dome, made sure that he got his rest. He went night-night, took a little bit of a nap. Hopefully he got some of that good REM sleep while he was down there. But then Pat left for real. So you can expect Monday on the Pat McAfee show to be absolute fireworks because anytime after one of these things happens, it's incredible. Now, this whole Adam Cole thing has been a work, and we all know it. Well, I don't know. Work sounds insulting to me. I'm sure that some of it was organic because you have to have a little fire in your, you have to have a little fire to actually get it going. So I don't know if it's 100%, but this plays out perfectly in Triple H's favor. You get one of the most electric people in media to be a part and to have a greater place in your organization. And now McAfee and Cole are duking it out. Hopefully he'll get a W like Gronk did. I think that they should do that instead of having him take a dive. But who knows? I am not Triple H. That's not my call. Number 5 on the Hi5. We're going to end it out every Friday this way. Watch some sports. We're back. Take it in. I am a part of a sports podcast that can once again talk about sports. We made it through. We actually gained listeners over the time that we didn't have sports, which is surprising, but I'm extremely grateful for. So if any of you guys are coming from the podcast, whether it's from Apple, Spotify, anything like that, I appreciate you. The PGA Championship, I know that I just ragged on Bryson. That's happening all weekend. It's Old Faithful, really is. While you're doing chores or anything, you can turn it on and then turn around and be like, oh, man, Rory's dressed like a creamsicle today. This is cool. This is awesome. Or Tiger is getting infuriated and he's going to blame his back problems on his poor play again. Oh, just beautiful. Today we've got Celtics Raptors and we've got Reds Brewers. I'm just trying to give some bigger games. We've also got Blue Jackets versus Maple Leafs. Last night, Blue Jackets were down 0-3. They came back and won 4-3. Chef's kiss. On Saturday, we've got Clippers and Blazers. So, that's a huge game because that you may very well see in a playoff situation. Indians versus White Sox. Both teams are doing monster work. After lighting Trevor Bauer up, the Indians decided that they were going to drop 15 on the Reds. Oof meter is... I wish I could edit these things in like sound effects. So if you guys know of any YouTube editing, capabilities, let me know. All right, everybody. I've run over my time. I appreciate you all being here. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Stay safe this weekend. And we will catch you all on Monday with another episode of the Hi5, but also a new episode of the podcast. So keep your eyes out. We'll see you guys later.